All right, cyber traders, welcome on back to wrap things up for the end of this week, this first week of 2024, Friday, January 5th. Happy birthday, Nikki, my sister. Not as if she's actually listening or anything. Just great to see all of our students, though, alike and members inside our live trading room. Leda, Brian, Calvin, Gary, Anna, and Michael, and all of us just otherwise joining us right here. And then just otherwise on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., wherever you may reside on our social media streams and platforms at Cyber Trading U. Just pop it up right there on the stream. Just be a friend, tell a friend, hit that subscribe button. Look to spread the good word of Cyber Trading University, just following the big money, the iceberg orders out there on level 3 and level 4, namely. So for right now, I mean, hey, heading into the end of this week, not only is my tongue tied a bit, but we've had a lot to work with, especially here for a Friday. Really, market's been a little wishy-washy up and down, but we've had our hands on the Zim trade, which is actually up 6+%. I know a couple of us were focused on that just a moment ago. Hey, heading into this afternoon, it's a little flat here, but it popped up pretty nicely from the morning session. So just to go over it briefly, I guess, moved from 1350 up to 15 over time, ended up pulling back. What time is this? Oh, would you look at that? Right around 10:20 in the morning, perhaps 10:25 in the morning. The stock hit its initial peak. It made a bit of a pullback, reverse from there, and thankfully it ended up actually breaking a higher high. But now at this stage, the Zim trade a little bit more washed up right now. I think it's been a seemingly great swing trade in hindsight, but as a day trade, we were kind of more focused on it here. So not as keen to put this on our list here, but just hey. What we'll do is just go from top to bottom. I know a few of us, I was asking, what we were kind of focused on, looking at, maybe even trading at this point right now. So let's actually just go through a few of those actually before we go officially top to bottom here. So BNCI, Gary mentioned this just before. And yeah, this was a great trade from earlier today too. A little choppy after the market opened up, but more from pre-market, took off at first, had a great trend, pretty similar trend to the QS that we had yesterday. That was like a really good one that Fausto and I were all over. I mean, we don't like, dropping the E word too often. It's a bit of a cuss word here. Close your ears if you don't mind. The word easy, it was a pretty easy trade. Nothing really is too easy in this trading world that we live in. And, much like the QS stock yesterday, this BNZI, not really too difficult of a trade at first. Ended up pushing up towards 320-ish. Then it got choppy by the time the market opened up. I'm not just talking about this like downward move, but it got very choppy minute by minute. When you would look for a breakout and for a move up higher, it gave it to you, but barely. And, the way I can compare that, it's like expecting big firework grand finale on 4th of July. They light it, and it's like sparklers. It's a dud. So, when you get that happening, that is a red flag. And for that reason, it ended up eventually breaking back under its opening print, 299. Dropped off from there. So, yeah, we're done on this BNZI trade, I feel, and don't really have much business on this one for the time being. A couple of us looking at Boyle, the natural gas ETF. Hey, this one's at the highs. You know what I'm going to say about this, especially this time of the day. It's an ETF. If you do well on this, and if you have Bookmap, namely, you more so have a better chance of trying to capture a pretty good trade on it here. But actually, you could even see without Bookmap. Right at 36, big volume level, probably just largely based off this spike that came in just about 10, 11 minutes back. But big volume from consolidation and that transaction, or those transactions, lining up at 36. So, it's only up 2%. That's kind of the issue there. I'd rather focus on stocks that are up or down just more percentage wise than, 2, 3, 4%. RXRX, then okay. Well, this one we've been calling out since yesterday. Seemingly, in hindsight, a great swing trade now, you could say, but more we'd called it out as a day trade, right? So yesterday, another great trend, pushed up nicely from $9.50-ish, $10 up to $11.50, and now making a higher high, perhaps up towards 12. So, what this one I will add to our main list to begin. We got a nice stock here on this RXRX from Gary. Calvin with Apple, which, more name brand. Obviously, we're not going to be catering to the name brand stocks as much. But what happened here? Big drop. That will cater to us a bit. All right. So, hey, it's not up or down big percentage wise. But you know what? Hey, Apple normally doesn't make this type of drop like this suddenly. So, what's the news? What gives here? If there's anything I don't really see any news, at least dating back to 2 o'clock, just before 1:36. Something with J.P. Morgan with some form that they released. Hmm. If anyone knows what's going on with Apple right now, just let me know. Brian says 2 downgrades. That was from earlier, though, I thought. No? It looks like that could have been from earlier today, even like maybe even earlier this week. If that just happened right now, then please let me know, Brian. Maybe Benzinga will update in a bit. Maybe you got the scoop first. I mean, hey, it could be. And saying that, it's not down enough for us to consider. It really is a pick, but interesting drop. Interesting drop. Brian says no earlier. All right, so maybe there's extra news out on top of that, and we'll keep you posted over time if we see it, folks. We'll keep our eyes on Apple and keep it on our side list here. Tony says Department of Justice close to resolving antitrust. So is that just from right now at 2:15? If so, then that's the headline there. But we'll keep going though for the time being. We got Mara and then the SPY. Obviously, we always have our eye on the SPY more as a gauge to follow the market altogether. Even if you're not trading the SPYs and you're trading the Qs, just you want to have your eye on the market to a degree. Now Mara, let's get to good old Mara here. You see it on the bottom right, but Mara has been a great trade really since the mid-afternoon. I did think there was a chance it would break lower. I mean, one of our students had a good short on it from 24. I believe they got out right around 23.50ish or maybe a little bit higher, but eventually failed to break lower and continue that downtrend. Well, if it's not going to break any lower, then there's only one other way. It's more likely to go over time. So with saying that, it ended up beginning to make the test up towards 24. And I was saying to you folks, well, hey, I was hoping to see 23.75 act as good support in between. And thankfully, easy to say, but it did. And for right now, this has been a great trade back up. If you do well on the crypto stocks day to day, then I'm sure you're more inclined to put it on your personal watch list here. Listen, Mara is technically down 8%, more than that 5% we typically scan for here. Let's just go over the rest of the other crypto stocks. CLSK, kind of moving in tandem with it to a bit. Riot going back up pretty nicely here too. Coin, a tiny bit, not as much. I mean, this is not a Bitcoin mining stock, so keep that in mind. Coinbase is the custodian of a ton of Bitcoin, and as a company, they actually own a bunch, but it's a little bit different. So I guess there's been some slight difference in trading this week between Mara and even the rest of them. Mara is actually a really strong one from yesterday compared to everything else, but just to let all of us know here, Coinbase is a Bitcoin related stock, of course, but it's not the exact same type of company as Mara and the others that we're looking at. All right, so you know what, Mara, if anything, we don't really have too many on our list just yet. We only got RXRX. I will add Mara there. It's actually down 8%, and where we normally don't tend to see continuation on the miners in the afternoons, that leads me to say, well, perhaps we're going to get more of a bounce upward to try and fill the gap a bit, or try and have a little recovery going into the close there for those trades. But what we'll do is just go from top to bottom here. RCAC. This thing looks like a buyout. I don't care to check. I'm just going to move on. When it's making that much of a flat line, you just kind of just move forward. That's it. Change the channel. Zcar. Well, I'm happy we changed the channel just there. This thing flying up out of nowhere. From $3 basically, popping up over $1.20 here up towards 420, 430ish. Bit of a thin book, so you got to be careful there. But I don't mind adding this for right now. This trade reminds me, let me go back on the daily chart here. Yeah, this trade reminds me a lot, just like, what was it, the BNZI actually from before. BNZI, I think, is a new company as well, new IPO or SPAC acquisition company, that is. Just look at the daily chart, very similar between the BNZI and that Zcar stack. Doesn't mean that BNZI is going to pop. It's just that this one is, for the time being. It's going to have a big pullback over time, if not before the close, then after hours. But, maybe again, I'll come back to that BNZI at the tail end of this meeting if I need to. AIMD just down right now. You don't want to follow a stock trending down unless if the thing is like shortable. If it's a good short, down percentage wise. Let me go back. AXGN. It's been on a nice little trend upward across the afternoon. In terms of like pace, it's obviously more of like a choppy grinder of a move up, but it is at the highs. I mean, spread's not terrible. I'll come back to it at the end if I need to. Got to be picky here for a Friday. POL was a great trade from earlier today at the open, but then from there died off. A lot of them did. All of them did pretty much. AAOI, nice trend back up on this one. Wow, for as much as it did pull back, it's made some good recovery room here today. Over 20. Let's see that become support. Yeah, I'll add this here for now. TGTX as we wrap up the gainer side here. Peloton. Cancel my order out on that. I don't know. That could have been from earlier there. Actually, I'll tell you what, there was a trade that I saw myself get filled on. I've been here all day, but I left an order open and I saw it get filled right away. It popped up here, like new position. I'm like, what the hell? And I checked it right away. I'm pretty certain it was Peloton. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was like right here actually. It pushed up, but like I just got out instantly because that's like just bad management of your positions and orders. If you forget where you have your orders left open, or if you're not as much in like really visibility of that, you got to make sure you just kind of cancel the trade quick. Because I'm not just trying to get into a trade that I forgot about an hour ago. So even though it popped up a little bit there, it's okay. For right now, I'll pass on Peloton. Already made its move from yesterday and this morning. All right. So if there's anything else looking good on the way up, folks, just type it in here in the chat board. Just let me know. Just all of us on YouTube and all of us inside our live trading room. APLT on the loser side here, down 39%, but it is shortable. It's, I guess, a little close to the ground floor, but right now I just don't really like it just because of the pace. Pretty slow here. MPW, again, more slow and flat than anything right now. It is shortable, but Voyager, oh, I missed out on a great short on this trade. I think it was from yesterday, if not 3 days back on Tuesday. Just, big iceberg showed up. I had a great trade on it, but the thing stopped me out break even. Then it went back down. But I wasn't trying to swing that anyway. So, now with it back down that much more here overnight, I wasn't trying to hold that if that was the day. But whew, this thing took a hit. What goes up does come back down. So there's Mara down a little bit, but again, we have that on our list more for the bounce back up. QS, nah, too flat here. Keep this QS trade on your side list going into next week. I'll tell you that much because I am. Just good book. It's tradable. It was a stock back like 3 months ago, 2 months ago. We've done well on. So you want to keep this on your side list in your arsenal, but now for this afternoon, not really going anywhere. All right, so that leaves it up to you folks. If there's anything else looking good, just that I may have missed, let me know. Tony says Apple up from here. Yeah, hopefully, nice bounce on Apple. I mean, going with the market, of course, more so than anything there. All right, so I'll tell you what, expectedly so. It's a Friday, so we normally do a good enough job just scanning ourselves here, myself and our team inside our live trading room. Of course, Fausto in the morning, but it's a Friday. That's where we say more than anything. There's not as much moving to begin, so it's really hard to have a few things slip through the cracks on a Monday or Friday of all days. So we have 4 on our main list. We got the RXRX, we got Mara, we got the Z car, and AAOI we got there. We just go back to the BNZI. That's the only one I said I think we'd really go back to. It's going nowhere. It's not going anywhere there. Thought maybe on fluke chance there it would pop with the Z car, just kind of thinking they're both pretty similar, IPOs or SPACs, whatever you call them, similar daily charts for the most part. But one is moving, one is not, and that's where we're going to have our focus. All right. So, hey, folks, I think that's pretty much it from my side of things. We have Mara on the main list. That means that you know that the other crypto stocks may look to go, but you know where my bread's buttered. You know where your bread's buttered. And, for the most part, Mara is pretty much that one that we'll focus on. So, start and stick with this list. I will be back on right at 3 o'clock, giving Rich a nice clean break this afternoon, just tagging in for myself when I've been teaching this week. And, I'll be on the horn at least from 3 to 4. Taking you into the weekend. All right, folks, I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.